If you've ever had to build out a quiz in Canvas, you know how much time it takes. So what if I told you there is an easy way to go from a plain text document to a Canvas-ready quiz in just a few easy, simple steps? Well, I've gotcha. My name is Jessica and I'm with Digital Learning Academy. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through a few simple steps in an easy to follow workflow that can take your multiple choice questions that are hidden away in a Word document and get it to be a Canvas-ready quiz in no time. All right, so I recently had an instructor reach out to me and she asked for help building out her quizzes in her Canvas course. So she has 8 quizzes in her course and she has all 8 quizzes developed. However, they are in a Word document form and she would like my help getting them into Canvas and getting them ready for her students to take throughout the course. So this all sounds great, except for there has been no clean and easy way to get a Word document into Canvas and it functioning and working the way we want it to work in this situation. So I went out and I figured out a way to use ChatGPT and a free tool I found online to help me create a zip file, a particular formatting of a zip file that I can upload into Canvas and have these questions ready to rock and roll. So, it's always exciting figuring out new ways to do this, and having ChatGPT to help me do it has been a total game changer. So I wanted to share this workflow with you. And while your situation may not necessarily be exactly like mine, hopefully one of the steps throughout this whole workflow will be of help to you, and you'll be ready to rock and roll also. So when the instructor emailed me her quizzes, like I said, there were 8 quizzes in this particular course. Each quiz has 20 questions. And all 20 questions are multiple choice questions with 4 possible answers and 1 correct answer for each question. And so she sent this over to me in a Word document form. And it's 33 pages long. So when I saw it, I'm like, it's going to take me forever to do this one by one, question by question, answer by answer, all of that. Way too long. So what I had done was I first went to Canvas and I did some research into what particular file types Canvas needs to be able to create a question bank. And then I had to figure out what format those questions needed to be in so that Canvas could recognize that it's a multiple choice question with 4 possible answers and only one of those answers being the correct answer. So once I had figured all of that out, there was a very particular format that Canvas is looking for, and it needs it in a very particular file type too. So a couple little hurdles there I needed to figure out. But luckily, I was able to, find a free resource online, which I'll share here in a minute for you to use. And then I went to ChatGPT and asked for help reformatting this particular Word document to match the formatting that Canvas needs to be able to create the question bank. And so there were lots of little steps in between. And now that I've got all that figured out, it is working wonderfully. All right, so I want to walk you through those steps. I also want to give you a free resource down below. So find the link down below and it will take you to basically a PDF step-by-step of all of the instructions and steps that I'm going to give you in this video, along with a ChatGPT prompt that you can copy and paste into ChatGPT to help you format the questions correctly, but to be able to ultimately get it into Canvas. So don't miss out on that prompt and the instructions down below in that link. So, all right. So like I said, the instructor sent me all of the quizzes and the study guides on one document. Now I know for a fact that ChatGPT could probably handle it all if I took that 33-page document and just gave it to it and told it what I needed to do. But sometimes I find that I am more successful and ChatGPT is more successful when I chunk the things out and I give ChatGPT a very limited section of what I am working on so that I can ensure that I am putting it in correctly and then I'm getting the correct output from it. So from that 33-page document, I am copy pasting just one quiz at a time onto a clean Word document. Okay, so that's what this is right here. So I'm on quiz 6. So I just copied all of quiz 6 questions and answers and put it into this clean Word document. So as you can see here, this is the formatting from the instructor. She's given me the question, she's given me the possible answers, and then she just bolded the correct answer. That does not work for Canvas. So once I have the quiz kind of sectioned off, chunked out, I then go and I download this document. So I have it up on another window. I'm going to download it. Okay, that way it's up here in my download history. Okay, so that's it right there. And then I can go over to ChatGPT. So like I told you before, I have a ChatGPT prompt down below that you can copy paste, put into ChatGPT, and it's going to tee you up ready to go with this. Once you've got that prompt in there, all you'll need to do is say, here is quiz number 6, or, whatever quiz you are working on. You can do one at a time or, whatever works for your situation. I add the prompt. I'm going to grab the document that I downloaded. Remember, this is the nice clean document with only quiz 6 questions and answers on it. And then I'm going to submit my input. All right, so once it's here, it's going to start thinking through, it's going to read the documents. Like I said, just because I have only quiz 6 on there, that's all it's going to work with for now. And you can see here that it automatically starts formatting this out in the GPT Canvas. And it has the questions numbered out. And then it added an exclamation point to the correct answer. So this particular format is the format that Canvas needs to be able to recognize the question type and the correct answer and all that good stuff. So once ChatGPT is done going through and reformatting each of the questions here, I can scroll down and yep, there's 20 right there. If I scroll back up to the top of this GPT Canvas, I have 3 options. I can copy this, edit it, or download it. So I have found that if I click download, it works beautifully for me. Now, depending on what type of browser you're using or what your preferences are, you can totally copy all of this, put it again into a Word document, save it. But ultimately, we need this information down here as a DOCX file. So when I click download right here within ChatGPT, it gives me a couple options. I can do PDF. Here's that DOCX, and then here's a different file type. But this one is what I am going after. And I found that it works really well just straight from ChatGPT. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. It pops up there. I'm ready to go. All right, so now I'm going to hop over to a different online tool that I found. And quite honestly, I don't know a ton about it. This is just when I was looking for a document converter. I wanted to be able to go from a doc, like a Word doc, to this QTI file type. This is one that popped up. And conveniently enough, the purpose of this is for Canvas quizzes. So they do have some instructions here, and they do kind of go into like how to structure the question. And I did try there, download the template. It didn't quite work for me. Every time I tried to use it, it just didn't work. So I am just kind of going along with my own workflow because I have done it a couple times now and I know it does work. So I will include the link to this free tool in the description below. But once you're on this page, you will just go to choose doc file. Okay. And then I will go to my downloads, and this is my quiz 6 that I'm working on. Okay. quiz 6 is loaded up, and then I can say convert and download. Hey, I just want to talk about this page real fast because the chances of you getting it is pretty high. It might happen. But I went ahead to try to upload my DOCX from ChatGPT into that converter, and it kicks back an error. And usually it gives you a decent idea of where the error is in the document. And so this one is saying that on line 91, which, okay, I don't know how to count lines in Word, but if I did, that might help. Question must specify correct choice. Okay, and then it kind of gives me the answer. So if I pull the Word document up here, I found where, here's 19 and the next question, and then the D you passed. If I'm looking at that, I can see that question 18 here, while it does have an exclamation point here, it is behind that quotation. So I'm guessing that this converter here does not like that, and it recognizes it as being an error for Canvas, so it kicked it back and said this is an error. And so I need to enable the editing here, scroll down to, where was it, 18, and I just need to make sure this exclamation point is on the front side, so it's the very first character in that line that is the correct answer. Okay, so yeah, we'll try that and see if it works better. So from the error page, just go back. If you click the go back to home page here, it takes you back to all of their tools, but the one we have been using is the DOCX to quiz. And so we're back to this page. All right, so let's try quiz 6. I want to choose my file. All right, once that's done and in there, I want to convert and download. All right, so as soon as I do that, you'll see here that the file is now up in that downloads history tab. And it's also in the file folder just for downloads, okay? Now that I've got that, I am ready to jump over to Canvas. All right, so I'm in Canvas. I went ahead and I created all of the quizzes that I know I'm going to need for this particular course. And so, like I said, I'm working on quiz number 6 right now. And so I'll be working in this particular quiz here in just a few seconds. So right now, none of the questions that we've been working with live inside of Canvas. So we need to get them inside of Canvas. So to do that, I would want to go to the home page of my course. And then over on the right-hand side, there is an option to import existing content. So we're going to click into that. And from here, this is all of the things that I have imported and I can import. So what is important here is under the select content type, I am going to scroll down a little bit and I'm going to find the option for QTI zip file. So that little file type should start to look familiar to you now because that's just what we converted our Word doc to, and it is downloaded for us. So select that. Okay, and once you've selected that, this choose a file option will pop up. So in my browser, I have the option of clicking this little download icon, and my recent downloads are right up top here. I can just simply click and drag it in. Otherwise, you can click this browse your files. Okay, so once I've clicked and dragged it in, you'll notice that it kind of appears down below here. So if you think, whoa, where to go? Just check right below that dotted box and it should be living right there. Okay, now I could go for adding these questions to a question bank I already have, or I can create a new question bank. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new question bank, and I have a way that I'm structuring my labeling for this particular course. So give it a descriptive name of whatever question bank you need it to be, and you put it there. Once you've got all of that information filled out and selected, you will just click Add to Import Queue. Okay, so it says content migration queued. Here is our zip file, and right now its status is queued, and you'll see here just in a few seconds that progress bar will kick on up and it will download our file. All right, so there it is. It is now completed. So if you were like me and have multiple quizzes to do, I could sit here and upload each of those files. But like I said, I'm chunking this out quiz by quiz just to make sure it's all coming in correctly and it's looking good. All right, so from this window, I am going to jump back over to quizzes. All right, so once I'm back on this quizzes window, there's one little step I like to do just to make sure that I'm staying organized and everything's labeled correctly, because like on that previous page, we labeled it with our quiz number. I have found it does not transfer over. So top right-hand side, there are 3 little dots. Click those 3 little dots and there is an option here to manage quiz question banks. So I'm going to click into that, and here are all of the question banks that I have uploaded. So I've uploaded up to 4, but I'm working on number 6 right now. And this is number 6. So it just says quiz right now, but this is the question bank number 6 that we are working with. So I'm going to go over this little pencil icon, click the pencil icon to edit that. And I'm just going to give it a consistent name with my little naming convention here I've got going on. All right, so this is in class 250 and this is number 6. All right, so once that question is there, you can come in here, and if I click on the title of it, you can see all of the questions that we have uploaded. There is an option up here. If you check this little box, it will show question details. So it gives you the question. It also gives you the possible answers with the correct answer. I have found that it's super important to come back here, and I just like to double check it. Quizzes are one of those things that I'd like to have correct 100% of the time, because if you don't, it's a pain to have to go back and, if a student finds a question that has been wrong, set up wrong, to go change it and all that mess. So quizzes are one of those things when instructors give them to me, I make sure that they're right and they're correct. So does take time, but it's just a way to attention to detail, right? And quality control it. So yeah, I like to come in here, double check it against the original document that the instructor has given me, just to make sure what I have in here is matching what she has given me. All right, so once we're there, we're gonna go back to just the quizzes overview page. I'm gonna go into quiz number 6. So like I said, I've already created these quiz shells. There's nothing there. But if I click into quiz 6, I am going to go ahead and click edit. I'm going to edit this quiz by adding the questions to it. And up here across the top, I'm going to go to the questions tab. So from here, you have a few different ways to get those questions that we just imported into the actual quiz. So I can go with this last button over here that says find questions. So if I click into that, a pop-up window pops up where I can choose the particular set of questions that I would like to come into the quiz. So I can select all of them. There they all are, fabulous. However, this particular instructor wants each of these questions to be worth 3 points. So in order to do that, I need to add a new question group, because when I added questions from this find questions, there's no way that I have found to edit the point value of the question. And right now they're all at 1 point. So I come in here to new question group. I'm going to link to a question bank. Going to grab my question bank, which hopefully now you can see why it's so important to pay attention to your labeling and your naming conventions in here, because when you get a lot going on, it can get really cluttered. So keeping it nice and clean is definitely a must. I'm going to select that bank. Okay. And I know there's 20 questions in there, so I'm going to select 20 and change that 1 to a 3 points per question. And then I will create from there. All right, so it says questions will be pulled from the bank. There's 20 questions and 3 questions, 3 points per question. All right, so I can go ahead and save that. You'll see now, oops, our point value is 60. Even though I've only got 20 questions in there, the point value is 60, and we are good to go. All right, so I hope that that was helpful for you. I hope that using ChatGPT along with this free converting tool will completely change the way you are creating quizzes in Canvas. Don't forget to pick up that free guide I have linked below that has step-by-step instructions on everything we just covered, along with this very important ChatGPT prompt that will get you kicked off and creating perfectly formatted Canvas quizzes. Thanks so much. Bye.